Just listen to me, just trust me. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. Good morning, guys. I hope you guys are having a great day, staying safe, trying out new recipes, cooking lots of delicious food, or just enjoying my videos like you guys always do. So before we get started on today's video, I should probably explain my hand. It's kind of ironic because in my last video, I was showing you guys how to cut green onions the right way. And if you guys haven't seen that, make sure you guys go check it out. But I ended up being a little bit careless, slit my finger, cut off, it was pretty bad. Basically, the doctors told me that if it wasn't for the way that I cut my finger, I probably would have needed stitches. I don't know why I'm laughing, it's pretty serious. But that brings me to the point of why you guys should have sharp knives in your kitchen. They say the most dangerous knife in the kitchen is a dull one. And believe me, that's the truth. When it comes to having knives in your kitchen, you want to make sure that they're sharp so that you're able to cut with confidence. Imagine you're cutting onions and you have a dull knife and it just slips. That's going right into your finger. Having a sharp knife, you're going to be able to cut through. You should be able to cut with confidence as long as you roll your fingers and you're paying attention. I was thinking about what music to play. I was playing music in the background. I had all sorts of things going on and I got really distracted. And you know, having a sharp knife, just like that, my finger got cut. So no matter how much experience you have in the kitchen, it's always important to pay attention because you never know what could happen. And just to show you guys how sharp my knives are, I'll be right back. So, I got my paring knife. Obviously my cleaver is sharp because it did this to me, but if you have a sharp knife, and better watch my fingers here, you should be able to cut right into a piece of paper super easily. You know, easy. Point being, it's important to have a really sharp knife. The most dangerous knife in the kitchen is a dull one, and you don't want to end up with any possible injuries. So today we're talking about gyoza. I'm gonna teach you guys my way of cooking gyoza perfectly. Oftentimes people think, I know how to cook it, I'm gonna do it this way, I'm gonna follow the instructions, and to be honest, the instructions aren't that really good. I'm a visual learner. I learned from watching other people cook, mostly my grandparents. My grandpa and my grandma are amazing at cooking dumplings. I don't know if it's just all the experience they have or the love that they put in, but my grandparents were the one who taught me. I'm gonna show you their way, and you're gonna be able to cook perfect gyoza by the end of this video. All right, let's get started. I'm wearing a hoodie today. Apron on. Oh, messed up my hair. It's not always perfect when I yell apron on. Okay. All right, everything's gonna be a little bit harder with, you know, missing one finger, but that's not gonna stop me. I'm gonna keep going on this YouTube channel. We're gonna go hard in the kitchen, and I'm gonna teach you guys how to make gyoza. So, all you guys are gonna need for this recipe is a pan to fry them in. I like using a spatula. People are gonna disagree with me, you know, fight me. I know people like using chopsticks, but I find that this gives me the most control over flipping and, you know, grilling my gyoza. You're gonna want some olive oil, obviously. I use extra virgin because we are consuming what we cook. And it is also important to have a lid if you got one, or at least something to cover your dumplings because we're gonna steam them as well. So I'm gonna show you guys the steps and we're gonna get started. But before we do that, I'm actually gonna wash and cut up a few green onions. Normally I do this while I'm cooking because I have a little bit of time, but because I only have one hand today and things are gonna take me a little bit longer, I'm just gonna do these ahead of time and save myself the hassle. Because one of the most important things when it comes to cooking is timing. And timing is so important. So I'm gonna have everything ready and we're gonna go from there. You know, sometimes after an accident like this, it takes a little bit of confidence to get back in the kitchen. But funny enough, I was literally so hungry after going to the medical clinic and sitting there for a while before I could get my hand fixed, that I came back and I literally just started cooking. Like, I've actually had a few injuries in cutting my hands, so it was actually surprising how calm I was during the whole thing. Right, all done. So the first thing you want to do is turn your stove to medium to high heat. Add a little bit of oil into your pan. One trick to tell when your oil is ready to cook any sort of things like eggs, dumplings, is you can add a little bit of water. I just put in a few drops. And when you start hearing a crackle, that's when you start throwing things in. So we're just gonna wait till that gets hot. See how it's starting? Whoop, just like that. Now we're ready. Pan is hot. I'm gonna start putting in our dumplings. I like to slide them across. Not that I'm fancy or anything. All right, forget the sliding. Do a whole bag. So the most important part of this step is to make sure that all of your gyoza, your dumplings, are covered in oil. That's why I like using a spatula, because as you can see, I'm just using them to turn them on different sides of their face, right? Turning them, you can even go under like a spoon. At this point they're all frozen, right? So it doesn't really matter. Make sure to wear an apron so you don't get oil splashed on your clothes. You could also use a cover, protect yourself like a shield if you really want. All right, and you see how I'm covering everything like that? All right, perfect. The next step, once all of your dumplings are pretty much covered, you know, it doesn't have to be 100%, they could just be like 80%, something like that, is you want to make them into a circle, just like this. And we're going to add water into the middle. So I'm going to get my water. I'm going to switch hands because this one doesn't really work. And you just want a little bit pour under the bottom. It's okay if you do use a little bit more, but just a little bit. Cover them. And this is where they're going to steam. So they're steaming inside. I don't know if you can see that, but because your gyoza is frozen, you want to make sure that they defrost, and that's why we covered them outside with the oil. That's why we threw in the water. The water is going to allow it to steam now, and that should unfreeze them. And eventually what you want is for all the water to evaporate, and that's when you begin to brown your gyoza. And so that's what we're gonna do. Putting your dumplings into a ring makes sure that none of them burn. The center is where the hottest part of the stove is, and that's where all the water is right now. So it's expanding outwards. So none of your dumplings on the outside should burn during this process. Turn on your fan. I'm gonna give you guys a sneak peek at what they look like. Starting to defrost. Normally you wouldn't take off the cover until the steam comes out. Okay, so I can see some steam coming out of my cover. I'll take off the lid. And right now you can tell whether or not they're frozen or still frozen. You can just feel them. But they seem like they're okay, so I don't think I'm gonna cover them again. It's important to also note that I'm using a non-stick pan. It's up to you whether or not you use one in your kitchen, but having a non-stick pan really does help. If not, you can just use a lot of oil. And so you can sort of see that with all of the water evaporated, I'm gonna turn the heat down a little bit. Now we're gonna start grilling our gyoza. Slowly, just turning them onto different sides, right? Every single one of them in different directions. Like I said, this is where a spatula really comes in handy. You can already see some of them are starting to brown. The middle part is the hottest part of the pan. So if you notice some of these are browning faster, you can just swap them out with some of the guys on the outside, right? Like that. You just want to keep moving everything, moving everything, moving everything. Oh, there's one. See that? And this is how you're gonna get perfect gyoza every single time. I guarantee it. It's my grandpa's way. He knows what he's doing. And this is why it was important to cover all of them in oil beforehand. I mean, if you really want to, you can add the oil now, but you know, they're already covered, so. Just listen to me, just trust me. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. Yeah, and just to make sure that none of them really burn, you can start turning the heat down if you want. Keep moving them around. So everything looks pretty much brown now. I'm just gonna turn off the heat. We'll use the residual heat to finish up everything, but at this point, it looks like we're pretty much done, and you'll have perfect gyoza every single time. All right, cool. Let's plate these guys onto the plate. Stick them in there. Like I said, the green onions. I just went crazy with the garnish, eh? Oh my goodness. Spread this out more. Alright, well, you know what? I tried making it look nice, but whatever. It's fine. And there you have it. Perfect gyoza. Every single time. Once again, final product, dumpling sauce. Here we are with our perfect gyoza. Everything looks really good. I got my dumpling sauce. I also made a video on how to level up your dumpling sauce, so if you haven't seen that, you can also check that out in my videos below. I'm gonna pray. Wow. Of course my chopsticks fall. Jeez. Alright, and we're gonna try these out. Looks so good. BRB. Somehow I always forget the napkins. One of the things I love most about using this method to cook the gyoza is you get the brown, crispy outside, which is one of the most important things, and I keep talking about this in a lot of my videos. The dimension of texture is so important when it comes to consuming food. I don't want to just eat the food, I want to experience it. So texture is one of the most important things for me. Having that mouthfeel, having some sort of level of crunch. I mentioned that in the green onion video as well, and I'm mentioning it here again in the gyoza video because delicious. So I'm gonna finish this plate. It's gonna take me a while, so I'm not gonna make you guys watch me eat the whole thing. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys get a chance to try this method of cooking your gyoza. the perfect way, my grandparents' way. It's really delicious. It's a great way to cook. I hope you guys learned something as well. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.